and books and things and books and things and books and things.
That is such a good song.
Jeremiah and Jenna. Ooh. That's our new theme song. You're welcome. We spent a lot of time on it.
I mean, the rehearsals were killer this whole week.
Oh, man, it was hell week. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like rushing a fraternity or something. Woo.
But you know what? We nailed it. We nailed it. We did it.
Totally did. I was thinking of the night at the Roxbury's. Have you ever seen that movie?
I was totally just thinking of like his other thing with what's her name?
Spartan. That's funny. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Let's go.
Oh man, those two as cheerleaders was one of the best.
Reading. It's me.
I don't know if that's a great thing or a sad thing that we both know exactly what we're talking about.
What's so funny is like my memory of Saturday Night Live is so limited.
Yeah.
Because like when I grew up, like it was like black and white TV in my bedroom that I had like Donkey Kong Atari attached to.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like so, like SNL was never part of, like but that for some reason like resonated with a friend of mine, and like that just kind of became this weird inside jokey thing. And then David is a huge SNL human, so it's pretty funny.
That is funny. I love that. I love that. That's true. It's one of those things where like there was like blinks of time where I would find something that they did that was really funny. So like there was the like Adam Sandler group, Will Ferrell group, and then like Weekend Update was typically my favorite section, and so like I really loved when Tina Fey, like that entire run of Tina Fey, no matter who her partner was really good. That was always really funny. And then I loved a couple of the characters, like with not necessarily Adam Sandler so much, but like that some of that group when they would do things together, they were really good. So, but
I love it.
Yeah.
I think my favorite SNL is the Kristen Wiig with the tiny hands.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is.
Yeah. Super good. I love their political satire has always been like spot on. Like
yes, absolutely.
That has been by far like their best triumph for comedic purposes.
You got a little human being adorable.
Yeah, he's in this phase where like every kind of cylinder is like his favorite toy right now. So he'll get a cylinder and then knock it over, and then he'll hit it and he'll chase after it, And so he turns everything into a cylinder. And I'm discovering that there's a lot of cylinders in my life that I didn't know previously.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yeah.
It's so that spotlight effect, right?
Yeah.
That mental thing that when you pay attention to something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you buy a Toyota Previa and you've never seen one before on the you're driving
and all of a sudden everyone's driving one.
Like, why did everyone get in my car?
Yes. Or like I called people sister for a million years, and now calling people sister is this thing in the beauty guru community thing.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not associating with that. I've always called people, because when I worked at Blockbuster, there was a dude named Sean who told me that I couldn't get away with calling people brother. I can't remember why he made the challenge, but he was like, you just can't. It sounds too weird coming out of you. And so then from then on, called every customer brother or sister.
Oh, that's funny.
Just to spite him.
Yeah.
Because I do what I want. He's not my real mom.
That's right. On that note, Jenna, what were you reading this week?
Oh my gosh.
What is this?
Can I tell you like an awesome story about Twitter and this author, Lee Child?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this is another Jack Reacher novel. I love Jack Reacher. I've read Lee Child like since before I was 20, so like over 20 years. And I love the character. I love the writing style. And like Jack Reacher's, these books do something that I see no other book doing. Sometimes what'll happen is the author will tell you, here's the whole picture, or they'll be like, okay, here are all the events that happened. And you're like, ooh, I can't figure it out. And then they'll be like, here's some information you could have never figured out on your own, right? But what Jack Reacher's able to do is he looks at all of the puzzles that everybody has access to, all the information, but through his lens of experience and knowledge and intuition, he's able to see stuff. And that's what I love about Lee Child's writing, is that everything is right there. So I have been I'm a huge fan. And so Lee Child put out a tweet that was like, what would you like to see in the future for Jack Reacher? And for those of us Reacherites, or he would hate that. Jack Reacher would hate that, what I just said. But for those humans like me, who've been reading these books as they've been written for the last 20 years, there's this element to Jack Reacher where, like Lee Child talks about, he uses this incident in narrative where, because Jack Reacher was an army brat growing up, and so, a military brat growing up. And so they put all these kids in a movie theater, and they put a big monster on the screen, and they record the kids' reaction, and all the other kids backed away from danger, but Reacher actually moved forward with his pocket knife. Like that was so he has this retaliate first mentality, but he's getting up there. I've been reading about his life for like 20 years now. And so I said, hey, what I would love to see is like, what happens when he gets too old to retaliate first? What happens when he gets too old to not be able to jump on a Greyhound and sit on a Greyhound for 6, 7, 12 hours at a time? And Lee Child liked my tweet.
What?
I know. Don't worry, I'll remember everybody, even though now Lee Child liked my post. So
it's because you're worth $150 million now. So
I know, almost. Ooh, I love 150. That'd be delightful. I have so many plans for that involves buying things for teachers. So this book is like, this might be the reacheriest book ever. And I say that because Jack Reacher has a code. He has a moral code that he follows that I think no matter what you believe in, you can pretty much align your moral code with his. And it's such a good book. It starts with Reacher preventing an old man from getting robbed, and ends with Reacher making something horrible right.
Oh wow, okay.
It's so good. I mean, it's like it's like these humans with the best of intentions are put into the situation in which they need to financially be dependent upon the mafia, and Reacher, of course, just being Reacher, somehow finds himself entrenched in this, and he becomes an ally for these people who would have been, without him, probably killed. And so he sets stuff right. He's delightful, and I love him, and this is such a great story. And everyone says, oh, if you love Lee Child Jack Reacher, you need to check out Harlan Coben. Apparently he has a character.
Okay. So Harlan Coben is the author?
Yes, Harlan Coben is the author. Okay. I don't know if this is the right one, but it might be the one that everyone says, oh, if you like Jack Reacher, you got to check this out. So I'm going to be reading this one, the Stay Close, with its special value price.
Ooh.
of $0. Yeah. Sorry, Harlan Coben. But yeah, so I'm going to read this next week because people say, if you like that, try that. So, and I'm trying to give my brain an edu break.
Good.
Outside of work hours.
Yeah. It's good for you to recharge and kind of like fill yourself up a little bit with, some of your own. So that's awesome. So how far are you into Jack Reacher then?
Well, I've almost finished. Oh, this one is done. I finished this.
Oh, you finished this one. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I can't have a hands on a Reacher novel and not get through it.
Oh wow.
It's so good. Have you read any of Lee Child?
No, the only thing I know of, I know Jack Reacher from the movie. That's kind of sad to say, but
Would you like to read Gone Tomorrow? Or I will send you one of these, and then you can read it at your leisure.
Okay, whichever you think would be better
Ooh, this
start.
one. This one's so good.
Oh.
I love Gone Tomorrow, but
Yeah. So is it the case that he? Because it almost feels like the story of him is kind of like this is going to show how old I am, but the old Death Wish movies, right? Where it's kind of like a vigilante. I know he's not, but it's kind of like a vigilante who shows up and
yeah.
then you know, sees a problem and an ill in society, and then uses like violence and you know, and that to try to like right the wrongs, so to speak. And so it's kind of interesting, like parallel between like civility and like, you know, like war and like
well, and he was a military police officer for 13 years.
ah.
And so there's that piece to it too, where he's not just some random, and he's a giant of a man, which is why I think a lot of fans were annoyed that Tom Cruise was playing him, because Tom Cruise is not a giant of a man. I don't want to say anything and then end up like in trouble somewhere.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is lovely. He's a nice guy, I'm sure. But you know, Jack Reacher is described as a dude with hands as big as dustbin as big as garbage can lids.
Oh wow.
Like he's this massive hulking dude.
Yeah.
And I've never examined like why. I don't know if he's that way to stand out. I don't know if he's that way because it's like, you know, if you take up a lot of space in the world, then maybe you have a lot of responsibility in the world. I can't say I know because I haven't really thought about it. But he's just this hulking huge man who's, like I said, been through, you know, grew up in military, and then was a military police officer.
Oh wow. Yeah.
You know, for 13 years, and he was like in the elitist of the elitist, the 110.
Yeah.
And so when he interacts with somebody, they have no idea what they're up against. They have no idea because he understands humans, and so he'll do things like if he's being followed, most people wait in 5-minute increments. So he'll wait like 7 or 12. But I never even thought about the fact that humans think about things in like those kind of increments. Yeah, so it's that kind of stuff. It's just
very cool. Yeah,
it's so good. But it is very much it's like not so much like that he goes out to be the vigilante. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he gets mad and he's like, that's not going to happen. But it's more like, you know, he just goes from place to place to place, and wherever he goes, there is something that needs to be set right. And, you know, it's like he just cuts through that red tape and like, yeah, he's awesome.
Sounds like a good one. Yeah, definitely. That's exciting. Thank you for sharing that. That's a wonderful journey. Like, it's interesting to hear without knowing like much about him, like your take and perspectives on it and like how you see it. Because my only comparison, like I said, unfortunately, is the movie, right? And then what you were saying reminded me of, and what I know about the character since the movie is like, it totally reminded me of back in the day when I used to watch the Death Wish movies, and so I was always curious, like
you'll have to let me know, because there are pieces of Reacher that are really bizarre. Like he has a perfect internal clock where he knows what time it is every second of the day. Like he literally, like he doesn't really, he has like back in the old days before the internet blew up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He would walk around with a debit card and a toothbrush and a comb and the clothes on his back. And the way that he does laundry is that he wears his clothes for a few days. Then he goes into a thrift shop, buys a new outfit, changes, and dumps the old clothes. He's got this amazing sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's like he's doing van life before van life without the van.
Right. Well, buying clothes off the rack at a thrift store and changing. I call that college. So.
Oh man, my college had the best laundry mat
Oh, nice.
where you could drop your clothes off and like they'd give you a magnet and the
What?
staff would move your clothes from the washer to the dryer for you
Wow.
and then put your laundry in a bag so that you could just come get your clean laundry.
Where is this place? That doesn't sound
It
like
was
it
called,
exists.
I think it was called Emerald Forest up in Humboldt.
Oh my gosh.
Which now I'm laughing at because I'm like, ah.
That's crazy. Crazy talk, Jenna. I don't believe you. That's
crazy talk. Yes, I know. I have a dream about opening up a laundromat that's also an arcade so that you have something to do.
Yeah. Or how about a library?
Ooh, a library.
So people don't read much anymore.
True story. Speaking of reading, what did you read this week, my friend?
So I was thinking, I don't know if I've done this book yet. I'm still working on my, I'm about halfway through now, my Skeptic's Guidebook, and that's been really good. I have to say that it is, for me, getting a lot better. But I've talked about it for 2 weeks, so I didn't want to continue talking about that. I'll talk about it more at the end. But I don't know if I had talked about this book. So one of the books I did read this year was by one of my edu heroes, one of the people who I just humble guy, super incredible, and puts out some amazing things. So I don't know if I've talked about it, so we can tell me if I have. But Eric Kurtz put out a book. It didn't seem to get much fanfare, but he has an amazing blog called Control Alt Achieve. And
I think I've read a blog post or two.
Yeah, so basically, if you Google anything about Google stuff at all, or any kind of like edu technology kind of thing, like you're most likely going to get in the top like 5 hits something from Eric's website. So, so his book is called Control Alt Achieve, and it was one of those books that I didn't hear a lot of fanfare for, like coming out, because like it was just like it came out in a time when the world was kind of going crazy. So but it's a great treasure trove of like his blog is fantastically amazing, and Eric is like this really sweet dude who's just like doing amazing, like he's got, I don't know how his idea brain works, but like it's just like, it's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, man. It's just going, and like he's got the golden ticket, and like he's just kicking it. Yeah. So I read the book, and it was one of those things where like I just read it. Like I didn't stop reading it. I just read it. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to read, and like the only problem is that like if you stop, there's so many ideas for each little section that like you could never finish the book. So like I knew I just had to keep reading it, because like but it's definitely one of those books that it's like a manual, so I'm gonna keep going back to it. And so he just has like really basic ideas, and he basically walks through the G Suite suite of like the different tools and like academic activities that you could engage students in, and just little tweaks that you could do. And so
what's your favorite little tweak? Oh, well, we're going to go there naturally.
Yeah.
I was dying to know. I was like, you have me.
So like one example that I'd heard about before, but like he added a couple of flavor twists to it. So you've heard of like blackout writing, right? Like where
the bingo game?
No, it's so it's an activity you give kids to do where they have to go through and they have to like, I'm probably saying it wrong, but you have to like black out all the lines, all the words except for the most important words.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And then you get a summary of that piece of text.
I think back in the day that like it was called close reading with a Z when you left one segment of text out.
Kind of similar, but the opposite direction. So in this version, you get the entire text, like a paragraph of text, and then as you read it, you have to literally black out the lines, and so that you're only allowed to leave a couple of words per. So like in total, so like you could say like, all right, you have a paragraph, capture the essence in 20 words or less, right? Like
right.
And so you literally black out the text and then just leave like a couple of words essentially unblackened. So it kind of looks like classified documents that are released that have been redacted. It kind of looks like that. So it's that kind of idea.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So he started off with that as an example, and then he added the idea of like you have the highlighter tool in Google Docs. So now imagine that each of those colors has a meaning, right? And so
Oh, nice.
do you see where he's going with that? And so like you can then assign these different colors have these different meanings, and so now do it in groups of kids, right? And now have them do like a jigsaw with the different colors, right? And then they switch, and now they have to look, by looking at the colors only, they have to decide like what the meaning of the text is. And like,
wow,
it's just like these cool little ideas, right? Like,
that's excellent.
yeah, it's fantastic. And I didn't know, I should have, because he's awesome, but Eric was a high school math teacher, so it makes sense that he's got these really cool ideas, being a former high school.
That sounds so awesome.
Yeah, it's great, but he's got, I mean, there's so
I'm gonna have to check out his blog.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. So today, for just as a side, I was doing a training in Google Classroom, and so guess who I gave as results for like playlists of videos and blog articles to go look at for further like assistance. Ben, of course, for like the
obviously.
And then it's funny because in one of the videos that I referenced for Ben that I gave as a thing, halfway through the video he's referencing Eric. So it's like, so I was like, it's just funny that like the chain is
when
like,
you find that though, right? When you're digging through resources and you find that nesting doll or like that pool of humans that are referencing each other, I always find that group has a lot to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was just like a perfect cap, because I was thinking about like what book would be worth exploring and sharing, and so I highly recommend checking out. I bought his book on Kindle, just as a reference. Plus, I was like having like books like that in my pocket, so.
Especially if it's full of strategies. I mean.
Yeah. So like I'm thinking like there was another one that was and then the other thing that he does like that's really cool in the book, like it's kind of hard to see. Do you see that? Like he does a great like slide by slide, essentially like detail. So if you're not super strong in your tech, like,
and it shows up in Kindle because when I bought Edu Protocols,
I
originally bought it in Kindle and I was kind of frustrated because I couldn't get through it.
Right.
But that looks like it's like a picture of the page.
Yeah. So it's really great on and this one was fun. So like this one I've heard of before, but like emoji writing prompts, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
So
I'm so excited about that for little kids. Like, I think I'm going to start with emoji words.
Yeah.
And then move on to emoji sentences.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so perfect.
I'm so excited about that. I don't know why. I feel like I forgot everything.
Yeah.
Like, teaching and strategies.
Yeah.
And like I know nothing anymore. It fell out of my brain.
Yeah.
I still remember how to make a jumbo jack from my first job.
There you go.
But deep strategy that I spent years working on, that just falls out of my head in 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well, and it's that kind of thing that like makes it fun, right? To like a lot of them like I read his blog pretty frequently, so like a lot of the things there was some definitely new for sure, because I haven't read everything, right? But like it was really cool to see some of those ideas and going like, oh my god, how did I not remember that? That was brilliant. Like,
Right.
Yeah. So like he's got more in the book and then his blog, like he's got more teaching strategies than any one teacher could use in their life. Like it's just rich. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I ran into a really dense hyperdoc website. I think it was like Mr. Peterson or something.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Does that sound familiar?
It doesn't, but that's always exciting to hear new ones.
I'll have to. I kind of just like throwing all of my resources or all the resources I might want to look at in one Google sheet.
Yeah.
Which I'm never going to look at again.
Probably
just
not.
like every other like digital note I've ever taken.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah. I think it's more the process of like going through it, right, than it is the actual
Yes.
documentation, so to speak. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, that's and I really believe that the outcome does not matter. Like just
yeah,
'cause, and I know that seems weird, when you're a teacher, you focus on the outcome for your students,
hmm
but the outcome isn't perfection. The outcome is their achievement, wherever that achievement is.
right,
And then pulling their achievement up no matter where they were,
right.
just a little bit better.
hmm
And I think that gets lost a little bit sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a super good point. So, what are you reading for next week, Jenna?
Next week, I'm going to read Harlan.
You gonna read that one?
Oh, P.S. Well, David's friend from work sent a bunch of books,
Yeah.
and two of them were these two. And I'm going to read this one, but I thought it was funny that these are both from the author Harlan Coben.
Oh yeah.
This one is Stay Close, and this one is
Run
Run
away.
Away.
That's
So
hilarious.
I think I'm going to stay close first,
Sure, that makes sense.
then maybe I'll run away.
There you
I
go.
don't know. I don't know what order I'm going to do it in.
Well, it's quarantine now, so you stay close. Keep retro, guys. Keep retro.
Yay!
So yeah, stay close for quarantine, and then when quarantine's over, run away.
Run away.
Yeah.
Run away.
There you go.
Is the truth.
Amen, my friend. Well, I think I should have my my book done, so I'll talk about Skeptic's Guide next week.
Excellent. I'm
Uh,
excited to hear about it.
yeah, it's been a good read. I have to admit, I've gotten more out of it than I thought I would, and I really enjoy that. So
Well, and I
fantastic.
love your whole story that like you had a relationship with these humans
Yeah,
for so long.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I feel that way about like my ed tech humans. Like you and I met in 2014
14, 15, something.
or 15?
Yeah,
Probably 15.
probably 15. Yeah.
Yeah, probably 15 because I got married in the 14
And okay.
and would have been because it would have been that following year.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So 2015. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
nuts. Yeah.
I mean that was like 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
it's great to see all these humans again. I think that's the other part of this, that it's great to share tips and it's
hmm
great to learn from each other, but it's also great just to connect on a human level.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what makes this great. Plus, we're learning from each other. It's fun, and
It is a lot of fun.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I always appreciate learning from you, my friend.
Absolutely, absolutely, Jenna. Thank you for your time this evening, and I look
Yeah.
forward to seeing you
Now
next
it's
week.
the outro song for the chat edge thingy.
I didn't know the words, so I was just going, woo.
I think that was the word.
Yeah.
That was the bridge.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I gotta bring a low next time.
All right, my friend, I'll talk to you about books next time.
Absolutely. Have a good night, Jenna. Take care. Bye
Good night.
bye.
Bye.